I like guys, and I like the things that guys have, okay? This situation, there was something missing, so it wasn't something that I chose to, but I went with it anyway. Kind of think I should have hit something by now, and then you hit something else. and then you kind of,
God.
yeah. It was already in a foursome, so you just sort of go with it in that situation. I don't know if I want to keep that in.
Too many people.
Just kind of like go with it.
Yeah.
And you go with it. Yeah.
Hi, hot guy from London.
Thanks, that's my official title from now on. I'm changing my name tomorrow.
Can you introduce yourself to the audiences?
Yeah, so I'm Gavin, I'm 30, I'm from London, from England. I teach English online and then organise LGBT events around Saigon. Yeah, is that enough for an introduction?
Very busy guy, right?
Yeah, that's why I always look so tired.
Oh, no, you don't look a bit tired and you look young, very
Thank
young.
you, it's the makeup.
I like him, he's sassy.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Vietnam?
I came to Vietnam just at the beginning of 2016.
Why did you choose Vietnam to stay?
Well, I was living in Thailand before Vietnam, and then I came on holiday to Vietnam to just sort of see what it was like. And I liked it while I was on holiday here, so I thought, why not just sort of come and work and live here for a little bit? And then the days kind of rolled into months and then rolled into years, and then here we are.
A little bit wasn't a little bit anymore, right?
No.
Okay, anything particular that you really like about Vietnam?
The boys. The boys.
Oh, okay.
The food's good too.
While we're on the boy topic, do you have any particular boys in your life at the moment, or a type of guy that you like, or something like that?
Aside from Tuân, yeah. I don't know. I don't really have a That's so red. I don't really have a type. Just kind of someone who's nice, friendly, could make me laugh, it's funny. If they're hot, that's a bonus as well. If they're rich and successful, also a bonus.
Okay, so are you rich?
Billionaire? No, I'm so poor.
But look at that watch.
Back to the story of Gavin. I just want to ask about your childhood.
Growing up, I think it was quite a dysfunctional environment. It was difficult growing up for me, I think, because there was a lot of issues with kind of like alcoholism. Like my dad was never a part of my life. My mum and my stepdad, kind of not a very positive environment to grow up in, where there was...
You're not supposed to be in that.
No. But you find a way to just kind of cope with it and deal with it, and then look at your surroundings, see that like if this is the environment that you're in, then you kind of have a choice sort of moving forward where you accept that that is your life. Make sure that you're not in that kind of situation or those surroundings in the future.
Would you say that any of those things rubbed onto you, like on any of those bad behaviors of your mom or your stepfather or anything that you were growing up as a child? Did it rub off onto you? Did you have to like go through some difficult shedding experiences to actually get rid of your bad childhood?
Some parts of my personality that are probably affected by those. I had some difficult times around sort of the teenage years that were dealing with sort of like depression and a lot of negative feelings through sort of like the environment, and sort of feeling that there wasn't really, this is life. It's the point in sort of going on and continuing and living when like this is all that life is.
Oh, you have a very bad view of life,
yeah,
right?
Dealing with sort of like depression, I attempted sort of when I was a teenager, and then from then I was made to go into therapy. From that onwards, it kind of completely changed my way of thinking. Much more like optimistic and positive person.
How old were you then?
I think 16. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my culture, if we go to see a psychologist or something, it's a little bit like seen as there's something very wrong with you, or you're weak or something like that. Did you ever feel that?
It wasn't something that I kind of spoke about with people, because I think there is still, if you are dealing with maybe like mental health issues or no matter where it falls, you know, depression, anxiety, manicness, anything like that, like to to verbalize it and say it out loud, it becomes kind of, it makes people feel a bit awkward, I think, at least in the UK.
Don't know how to deal with stuff, right?
Yeah, then it makes people feel like less alone and realizing that like, if we all just kind of like keep it inside, then we all just feel like we're the crazy one. But we're all a little bit crazy. If we just kind of talk about it and be like, hey, like, I'm a bit crazy, and the other person will probably be like, oh yeah, like me too, like, well, let's be friends, you know what I mean? Like,
You feel crazy?
No.
Really?
in denial.
What would you say is the craziest thing about you?
I haven't done any crazy thing in my life. I'm still on my comfort zone. I never get out of that.
So do you ever want to be crazy?
Yeah, sometimes I want to try, but I have no chance to try it.
I'll give you my number after.
Okay, you had to grow up in a difficult situation. Do you remember the words, memory of that?
After a lot of the fights that would go on in the house, just kind of coming down the next day in the morning, and the house was in with kind of like things smashed and things everywhere. Like some of those memories kind of stick with me. But
I can see you are so confident now. And I just want to ask you that, what was your real personality when you was a kid?
thank you for saying I'm confident, because I don't feel it. Dealing with kind of like a home life that wasn't perfect, I think I was a bit not the friendliest, and kind of
Snappy.
a little bit, being a bit too kind of rough with words, a little bit, I think.
Straight to the point.
I still kind of have that now. I kind of like compliment sandwich, you know, like compliment, honesty, compliment.
So when did you realize that you were different from the other boys?
Maybe around like 13 or 14. I remember watching like, you know, WWF, the wrestling.
Yes.
You see the guy and?
Yeah, they wore a lot of like revealing outfits, just underwear, you know what I mean?
I always wonder, how does the underband stay on? Like you're wrestling and you're doing all these crazy moves in wrestling, but the underbands doesn't get a wedgie.
You wait people to put it down?
I'm waiting, yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, I like that.
At that time, you decided to hide yourself, or you want to share it to your friends or family?
I was kind of still figuring stuff out, because it wasn't a swing. I think it was more about like connection and more like feeling comfortable with these people rather than wanting to sleep with them.
Found something that you really liked in them, but it didn't mean that you were actually attracted to the sex.
Yeah, and then it wasn't until kind of college, but in the UK, college is like 16 to 18, and then you do like university after 18. So at college you have a bit more freedom, they're more open, like explore more of those options and then go to kind of like gay clubs.
Oh, I'm just curious that you had to grow up in like difficult situation, and have you ever think about doing bad things to yourself?
What kind of bad things?
Like they hurt themselves.
It was a coping mechanism when I was kind of a teenager. My perspective on a lot of things changed after I tried to commit, because it was then in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, looking down at my arms with a load of cut marks on them, with a belly full of paracetamol. Kind of when you're sat in that sort of sobering environment and they're asking you these questions and kind of like looking at your arms and being like, well, how long have you been doing this? And those kind of questions, it's really, really like sobering and kind of gives a bit of perspective, like a very, very like solitary experience. It's kind of like coping mechanisms, a physical expression of an emotional pain.
After that like intense event, did you just immediately stop, or what happened after that?
For me, that was like a massive turning point in my life. From that experience, I wasn't self-harming anymore. I changing my way of thinking.
Oh, when you really identify yourself, your real gender?
I don't have any issues with my gender identity. My sexuality, I became more open when I went to university, because I moved away from London and to Southampton, and it was much easier in a completely new environment where you don't know anyone. Being an adult for the first time, moving away. I've been like kind of financially independent since I was about 16 anyway. So.
When was the time where you actually came out and had a boyfriend and your first love and that kind of thing? Did that happen? Not yet.
Not well, I had a boyfriend, but like love, no. And I'm really sad about that. Like, I know, forever alone. Please, if you're watching, please date me. Please. So far, like one boyfriend, and that was when I was living in Thailand. Only for about 6 months. And then aside from that, I've kind of dated people. But I find that like my issue is I don't want someone to be with me just because I'm the one that's suitable for right now. I want to be with someone that wants to be with me because they want to be with me possibly forever. So then when I'm trying to find someone to date, I'm kind of like, well, I like you, but like, what if I like the next person more? And then like, then we're already kind of doing this. And then like, how do I...
Commitment issues.
Yeah, I know, right? It's difficult in this, just with like Tinder. I think everybody kind of has the same, where they kind of think like, oh, the love of my life might be just like a swipe away. So how do you, why settle for someone's flaws when the next person may be much better without any flaws?
Too many options, that's the problem. Our world is so interconnected. Thing like true love is so difficult to find.
I'm hoping it will have happened today.
So just remove Tinder, Grindr, whatever. Remove it. So can you compare the LGBT culture between Vietnam, Thailand, and your country, your hometown?
Okay. So like I moved away from the UK like 2012, so it's about seven years ago. So it's been a while since I was properly there, and I didn't spend too much of like my adult years in there. But the culture is much more open. It's okay to be gay, I think, in the UK. You may still face kind of the odd idiot that will make a comment or things like that. I can't speak for everyone, but I think most people are aware enough to know that kind of like being gay is okay. It's like it's normal. It's represented on enough TV for decades now. Like in the 90s, there was Queer as Folk, you know, like the TV show that was sort of normalizing, and that was mid to late 90s on like the mainstream, like 5 channels that was on there. Then other representations, and now we have trans representation, drag representation, like it's coming towards kind of like non-binary and sort of
normalized.
Yeah, trans issues are the new gay issues, I'd say. Like they can go back to living in their cave, who cares, you know? We're just gonna go live our bright, colorful lives. Good luck, do you know what I mean? But now it's about dealing with getting representation and for people to like normalize and to understand about people who are trans and people who are outside of the normal things that people may know about.
And Vietnam?
So Vietnam, I'd say Vietnam is quite conservative. And I'd say there's kind of like a split between the millennials. Like, I count myself as a millennial. I'm like the older millennials. Like
I'm like almost there.
Yeah, you know, I'm the granddad in the corner of the millennials, you know. And younger are much more open about their own identity, and they know themselves how they feel, but it's dealing with their parents is the problem. And like, I know a lot of gay people openly gay, but not so to their parents, and will be in a gay space or will go to a gay bar, but their parents don't know. And then continue the lineage, and like, even though you're gay, they don't care. You still need to have a kid. You still need to have a wife and things like that. Yeah.
It's the first son. So what happens if that first son is gay?
That is my situation, but it depends on how you deal with that. People should be brave to live the real you. Like, don't hesitate to express yourself to your parents, your family, and tell them the truth. Because if not, you will hurt another girl. And like, you can have a real happy family.
Everything's so fake, right?
Yeah, fake.
I completely agree, 100%. Like, you just create unhappiness. Like, the gay guy's gonna be unhappy, the wife will be unhappy because she married a gay guy who just...
Parents are unhappy because you're lying.
The parents might be the only ones that are like at least a little bit happy because they have the grandchild now.
The gay guy married the girl and then they cheat on her, date with another guy, Isn't
So
that
much
right?
lying,
Yeah,
so much
lying.
deception towards yourself, actually.
So I've lived in China, Thailand, and Vietnam so far, and I'd say kind of China and Vietnam have a similar like conservative culture. So instead of being like the firstborn son, it is your only child. So if they're gay, your family line stops there. So there's a huge amount of pressure to.
So much pressure.
Yeah, but a lot of the people that I met, they would say that they're allowed to be gay until they're 30, and then they have to have a wife and get married.
You can be gay until you're 30. Then you have to change your mind.
Yeah.
And everything. I don't get it.
So live it up. Gay it up. Have the gayest time you can. And then get straight.
You went to Thailand, and I feel like Thailand is like the complete opposite.
Yeah, Thailand is really, really, really open. Because of their kind of like Buddhist background and culture is sort of really intertwined with Buddhism. It teaches a lot about kind of respect and not judging other people, because how someone's current situation, and if you are to treat other people badly in this life, then you're going down the ladder in the reincarnation. So generally it's about kind of being nice and a good person to
Being
a
nice
lot of
to
people.
others so you
can move higher up the ladder. You move closer to Nirvana and Buddha.
Okay.
It's not 100% open. They're a lot more open towards trans women and trans men than other countries. It's been part of their culture for a long time, but just the words that they use maybe not the best, even in their own country, calling themselves, well, other people that come, they're calling them ladyboys instead of the TAY, which would be katoi, which means kind of transgender person.
Have you ever been with a katoi?
Not male to female, but female to male, yes. Kind of happened by accident, and then in that situation,
Accident.
yeah, well, I like guys, and I like the things that guys have, okay? This situation, there was something missing, so it wasn't something that I chose to, but I went with it anyway. Kind of think I should have hit something by now, and then you hit something else. And then you kind of, yeah. But then you kind of like roll with it and just.
You stop there, or you just keep going?
It was already in like a. Oh my god, I'm gonna. Oh my god, I don't know if I want
Go
to say
straight
this.
to the point.
I wish I'd gone straight to the point. It was already in a foursome, so you just sort of go with it in that situation. I don't know if I want to keep that in.
Too many people.
Just kind of like go with it.
Yeah.
And you go with it. Yeah. After that, it made me kind of question like sexuality and kind of attraction a bit as well. Kind of like, well, if someone has the appearance of completely presenting as male with muscles, a beard, body hair, everything, but then they have a different genitalia and sort of those things, it made me reevaluate a little bit about how like attraction and kind of what I could be open to. Attraction
stay one way, or is it something that evolves?
For me personally, as someone who's presenting as a more male aesthetic, and I like guys, but at the same time, I would be open to dating a trans person who also hasn't necessarily had gender confirmation surgery.
Okay, interesting.
I know that you will stay in Vietnam for a long time because of the hot guys here. So I want to ask about your future plan.
So my future plans are become rich and successful, become a CEO of my own company and business, find a husband, solve world hunger, create world peace, you know, just like casual things.
Anything for this year?
Expand on the events that I'm doing. Hopefully starting the beginning of the dry season, I want to start doing monthly pool parties, and then as well as expanding out into some other events, and I'd like to start a business. In the process of trying to create an online English learning platform that targets the Vietnamese market. So I sort of created websites and some things like that as a teenager and would run.
So you have media on your side, you have coding on your side, you have online work on your side, and I think you're definitely going to be very successful.
Thank you. If you are interested in any of these qualities, please do write in. I am available.
So I guess the message that he wants to send to the LGBT community is he is still available.
Yeah, 100%, like almost too available.
Do you have any experiences that you want to share to the LGBT community to help them to lead a happy life, to be brave, and to deal with the difficulties?
The best thing that I could say would be, no matter what the situation that you're in and the environment that you're in, that's not forever. And things can change really quickly. It just takes either making that point to kind of make the change, or put yourself in a situation where change can happen. Don't be a horrible person. Just be like a nice person. Live yourself and like be true to you, because you've got one life. Why would you base your life choices on someone else that's not living your own life? And sometimes people's reactions are completely different to what you would expect. But you don't know that unless you take that chance and say it. And the repercussions of something going negatively could be there, but at the same time, the repercussions of living a lie are forever.
That's too deep.
I know.
What he's actually trying to say is that it's the end of the show right now, and we have to say goodbye to you. And like every time I do something like this, I always feel like there's some kind of warm feeling inside my heart. Thank you so much for that, though.
Thanks for coming, Gavin.
That's okay. I'm sorry that I didn't have an emotional deep moment. I'm not bawling here. Just try and keep it happy and positive.